The city of San Francisco slowly returned to its normal rhythm. Tourists crowded Fisherman's Wharf, cable cars clanged along Powell Street, and the sea breeze carried gull cries across the waterfront. For Emily Carter and Daniel Brooks, however, normal was something they had yet to rediscover. The months after the corruption scandal unfolded like a storm breaking apart, leaving behind calm skies, but also debris scattered across the shore. Daniel no longer lived in hiding, and Emily's bookstore, Harbor Lights Books, had found a strange new fame after being linked, quietly of course, to the story that shook powerful corporations. Customers sometimes whispered about the mysterious man, often seen near the shop, and Emily simply smiled, keeping the truth between herself and Daniel. Yet beneath their laughter and coffee dates, there lingered a shadow, the knowledge that power rarely forgives those who challenge it. One chilly October morning, Emily arrived at the bookstore to find a single envelope slipped under the door. Her name was handwritten across the front. Inside was a photograph of her and Daniel sitting by the bay, smiling at one another, unaware they had been watched. On the back, in bold black ink, were three words: "It's not over." Her hands trembled as she read them. She waited until Daniel arrived later that afternoon, setting the photograph silently in front of him. His jaw tightened, but his eyes remained calm. "I was afraid of this," he murmured. "Daniel, I thought it was over," Emily whispered. "So did I. But sometimes people don't care about justice. They only care about revenge." Instead of retreating, Daniel made a decision that surprised Emily. He would no longer run from shadows. If someone wanted to scare them, they would face it together, in the open. He suggested they take a trip away from San Francisco, not just to escape, but to test whether these threats followed them. Emily hesitated, but the thought of clinging to fear all her life was worse. She agreed. They chose Seattle, Washington, a city of rain-soaked streets, coffee shops on every corner, and a skyline dominated by the Space Needle. Emily closed the bookstore for a week, leaving Mr. Thompson to mind the place. When they arrived in Seattle, everything felt new. The sound of ferries docking at the piers, the scent of roasted beans drifting from Pike Place Market, the neon reflections dancing across wet pavement. For the first time in months, Emily felt almost like a tourist, laughing with Daniel as they ducked under shared umbrellas, exploring bookstores, and stealing moments of peace in quiet cafes. But shadows have a way of following, no matter how far you travel. On their third night, while dining in a small waterfront restaurant, Emily noticed a man seated 2 tables away. He wore a gray coat, the same color as the one worn by the figure who had once haunted her in San Francisco. At first, she thought it was her imagination, but when they left the restaurant and wandered along the pier, she glanced back and saw him again, standing near the entrance, watching. Daniel noticed too. He didn't panic. Instead, he wrapped an arm around her shoulders, pulling her closer. "Keep walking," he said quietly. "We're not going to give them what they want." Back at their hotel, Emily felt her heart pounding as she leaned against the door. Why us? Haven't we done enough? Haven't we risked enough? Daniel knelt in front of her, taking her hands gently. "Emily, listen to me. I never asked for you to be pulled into this, but you chose to stay by my side. That means everything. And I promise you, whatever this is, we'll end it. Not just for me, for us." His smile, even in that moment of fear, carried the same warmth that had first drawn her in through the rain-streaked glass of her bookstore. And though fear still clung to her chest, Emily knew she would not turn back. The following days in Seattle became a strange mix of beauty and tension. They explored Pike Place Market, tossing coins into the bronze pig statue, laughing at street performers, sipping coffee from paper cups as seagulls wheeled overhead. Yet everywhere they went, Emily felt eyes on them. She couldn't always prove it, but the sensation remained. One evening, while browsing a used bookstore tucked into an alley, Daniel picked up an old leather-bound journal. He flipped it open and froze. Inside, scrawled across the first page, were the same three words from the photograph back in San Francisco. "It's not over." Someone had left it there waiting for them. The journal contained no other writing, only blank pages, but its presence was enough to confirm what Daniel feared. Whoever was after them wasn't just following. They were playing a game. Daniel decided it was time to fight back differently. Instead of waiting for threats to come, he reached out to an old contact, a former colleague from his security firm named Marcus Hale, now working in Portland, Oregon.